Good afternoon, good evening, this is John Paul Wright. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. Today I'm going to talk about the statement Mark Hamill made where he strongly hinted that he only has a cameo in The Force Awakens, his main movie is The Last Jedi, and that's it. So, he kind of meant that in Episode 9 he only has a cameo, he's not in it much. We don't have absolute proof, no one's seen the movie, and he can't straight out say what his part is, but like I said, he strongly hinted at the fact that he only had a cameo. Now, where does this leave me? I've said time and time again, and if you're new here passing by, I was 10% thinking episode 9 might pull through, we might get a good one, and 90%, probably not. And if Mark Hamill only has a cameo, that's going to go down to about 1% to 99%. It's also absolutely baffling what they would be thinking. Why in the world would they only give Mark Hamill a cameo when they know this was like one of the major things, if not the one major thing that was wrong with The Last Jedi that half the fan base doesn't like? Why in the world wouldn't they just give Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, at least a decent amount of screen time? Let's just start with at least 20 minutes, at least, something like that. I would personally just say make the whole damn movie about him and you get all the crowds back. I mean, let's face it, a lot of these people who were boycotting, if they got the word that, this was about Luke and Luke was just kicking ass and old school Luke through the whole thing and Rey, Poe, and Finn and Holdo and Rose, pushed to the background, then they might have a tough time boycotting it. But if these people who boycotted Solo and are boycotting Disney Star Wars get the drift that Luke is a cameo, they're just going to keep on trucking with it. The other thing I said, I think about 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that, was that when Mark Hamill's finished with filming, finished with his contract, we're going to see more honesty from him. Now, I'm sure he still has acquaintances and people in Hollywood with their eyes on him, putting pressure on him even after the contract's over, because they're probably creepy people with weird threats, who the hell knows. But we're going to see a lot more looseness and honesty from Mark Hamill. And I'm going to say the older he gets, the more unafraid he'll get. I mean, let's face it. When you're a younger guy, he's not young, but I mean, he's in his 60s. He's still got his golden years and his grandkids and his life ahead of him he doesn't want to ruin. But when he's like in his 80s, he's not going to care so much about his future and what he says and this possible backlash and punishment from the people up top. It's not going to matter to him. So I have a feeling at some point Mark Hamill is going to drop everything he's thinking, possibly in a book. What if Mark Hamill wrote a book like 10 years from now, How I Really Feel About The Last Jedi? I think it would sell like 50 million copies, or however many copies of people like myself who dislike The Last Jedi and the Star Wars franchise in general. I mean, Star Wars Disney franchise in general. We'd buy it. I'd buy that book up. I haven't read a book in years. I'd probably read that like overnight or something. Speculation on what this cameo could possibly be? Well, I mean, obviously it's probably a Force ghost, probably in the same light that Ben came back to Luke after Ben died. JJ might try to play some bullshit like, oh, well, giving a throwback to the original trilogy by having Luke come back as a Force ghost really quick in the same way Ben did. And I also heard Lando won't be in it so much, so like people have told me that I didn't want to believe is that SJW's doubled down, tripled down, and apparently, yeah, this will be tripling down, and it won't be good. We see the Captain Marvel box office is doing really well, and however that happened, we'll get into that another day, but I don't think Star Wars is going to pull through like that. I just don't. And we'll see what happens. Star Wars fans are a lot more passionate. Marvel fans are like, I don't know. I can't speak for Marvel fans. I'm not a huge Marvel fan. However, I know myself from Marvel movies, I'm just not as judgmental with the characters, things like that. I don't care about the franchise in the same way. Although it's a very old franchise, it's just not the same emotionally as Star Wars is. This also makes you wonder where their head's at with representation. I mean, they say they have all this old footage of Leia, they're going to put in, try to make her important. That's great, but to throw Luke a cameo and so concentrate on Leia so much when we really want to see Luke, yes, I want to see Leia too, but Luke's a Jedi. He's the one we want to see. I mean, Leia should have been a Jedi too, but they effed that up. That was part of the original script from Trevorrow, but they didn't go down that road, so we got what we got, and at this point, Luke is the Jedi. We want to see Luke. So give Carrie Fisher an honorable role, something that her family could be proud of, things of that, but get Luke in there to get the money. And if they don't, oh well, it's going to be pretty sucky. You guys let me know down below what you think of that. Like I said before, if this is true and we find out for certain that Luke Skywalker, aka Mark Hamill, only is a cameo, it's going to be horrible for the movie. I'm doing Star Wars, mainstream entertainment, Marvel, stuff like that. Click that subscribe button, notifications bell, got a Patreon, got a Twitter, got all that. See you next time.